So basically, as you know from the book, hope is bullshit. When I was going through SEAL training, a lot of people hoped that they would pull us from that cold water. Man, hope ain't gonna get you shit because it's not in your hands. Hope is not in your hands. You can't control hope, man. You can't. It's just hopefully this thing happens. But when you get belief, when you start to create belief, and belief isn't like an after school special. Most people think, oh man, like your mom and dad, you need to believe in yourself. Sesame Street, when I was growing up and shit, you need to believe in yourself. That's not the belief I'm fucking talking about. It's the belief that you harness through hard work and dedication. And it's something that you know what you are capable of because you've gone there several times in those dark times. So my belief, why I kept on going back to Navy SEAL training and going back to all these different things, not because I hoped training would get easier. It's because I believed I could fucking make it. Through the training I put myself through, I just wasn't doing and executing as I should. And I knew that. It was all on me. So then when I put that belief into work and that hard work came to fruition, everything happened for me.
You state that when you're living in hell, the only way to find your way out is to confront the devil himself. Who was that devil for you?
It took several years for me to figure out who the devil was. And the devil was my father. The devil was my father, but what I didn't put and never finished was the devil really was me. So what happened was I put all this blame, and trust me, my father and a lot of people had to do with my upbringing on how shitty it was. But like I put in that book, no one's gonna come back and say, hey man, I apologize. Maybe someone does. Very few people will. So at the end of the fucking day, when all things are said and done with, while my dad was the devil, and I believed that for a long fucking time, I had to confront him. And when I confronted the devil, so what I thought was the devil, I realized that I was the true devil. I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat. And I was the one looking for all these ways to say, it's okay, David. You're a loser, you're a born loser, so it's okay. And I was hoping my dad was gonna give me that confirmation. And he was a loser himself, but at the end of the day, when I left there, I realized, well, shit, man, this is on me. My dad's fucked up, my mom's fucked up, the people around me are fucked up. They're not gonna save you. You gotta fucking save yourself, my friend. So that's when all that reality hit me when I went to Buffalo to see my dad on that drive home. I was like, man, this rest of your life is gonna suck. It is gonna suck, not because you're gonna be a loser, but because you're gonna fucking finally start to win. And winning is not easy, my friend. Yeah, so Sergeant Jack, was my grandfather. He did 30-some years in the military, and it wasn't like he just did 30-some years in the military, man. This man retired from the military, and he pretty much made his own military. When he retired, that's when he became really hardcore. He wore his uniform every day. When he retired, he wore that uniform every day. And I didn't know anything. I was some young kid that was tortured from my family, from my father. And I come in, when my mom left my father, we moved to Brazil, Indiana. And my mom drives up, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get some pity party from my grandparents. And Sergeant Jack looked at me, man, like I was a brand new recruit coming off the bus, man. He didn't give a fuck about what my dad did to me. He pretty much, without saying it, was like, look, young man, there's a lot of kids out there who live like you do, who have gone through what you've gone through. Maybe not as bad, but you're not the only one. And my grass needs to be cut, my cars need to be cleaned, the yard needs to be raked. He taught me a lot of lessons within the lesson of no one really gives a fuck. You have to continue to fucking live your life, or you can choose to be doomed and become a statistic. Like a lot of young people who fall back on their childhood when their childhood wasn't good. He never said any of this though. It was through his actions, by not feeling sorry for me, by how he worked me like a dog, that it came to me that this is what life is. Life is a training ground. And like going through buds and ranger school, very few people make it through. While you may live a long life, it doesn't mean you fucking graduated at the top of the class. You just lived a long, boring, despicable life. And that's not what I wanted to do. So Sergeant Jack started me out young, and I had to learn these lessons on my own through the discipline of hard work and cutting the grass and raking the leaves and doing all these things before school and after school. And he just built a mindset in me that I was like, okay, one day I can fall back on this. Nothing's permanent. Nothing's permanent. That's why I'm always big on, you have to keep what you want to be in the front of your mind, because you're going to always lose it within the suffering. And suffering, people always hear me say suffering, it's not just physical, man. There's so many forms of suffering out here, it's not even funny. And most of them are not physical. Most of them are psychological. I'll tell you the truth, man. I was a fucked up person. I had a lot of problems. But I'm going to give credit where credit's due. When you work as hard as I do, and people don't want to believe it, but they know it's true. They know it's true. It's how I talk. It's how I look. It's a look in a person's eye. You know it's motherfucker ain't bullshitting you. So you can think I'm lying on you up, but in the back of your mind, you fucking know this guy's the real deal. So when I get around you, I'm like a fucking lie detector. I'm not calling you out. I'm not saying a word, but the second you start to get close to me, like those metal detectors, you get that metal detector on the beach, you find that watch in the sand. That's what I am with people, man. They get around me and they know what they're not doing. They know how hard I'm not trying, and I bring